and this is time for the Boomerang Radio Show each and every Sunday, right here on this network, 3 p.m. on the west, 6 p.m. on the east. I see Ann Wooten Taylor. I see Mike Ward. Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm terrific. I'm terrific. Uh, Boy, we're waiting for perhaps Dr. Dimmer will join us. I hope Dr. Sims will also. Very important topic. So I'm doing great, except for one thing, Ann. You remember when I was living in Southern California, how I used to call my friends, including you, and I say, "How is the weather?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And you
Yeah.
guys say, "Cold,"
Mhm.
And a lot of my relatives back here, Mike, I said, "Oh, well, I'm out. I got shorts on. I'm on the short sleeve shirts and sitting in the backyard." And then next thing I know, hello, hello, they hung up on me. They
Well,
they used, I didn't think of it as being as bragging.
you know
And
you were bragging. You knew you
yeah,
were.
hey, Mike,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
I have to confess, I kind of was. Cause see, let me tell you what happened. Mike did that to me the other day. I was talking about how cold it was here, right? And Mike talking, oh,
Mhm.
let me put on my hoodie. It's about 65 degrees, and I said,
Wow.
man,
Wow.
oh, oh, got an important announcement to make, Ann.
Yeah.
Mike and I had, in my opinion,
wait. Did I authorize this statement? It always bothers me when you start with Mike and I.
Mike
I
and
just
I, yeah. Hey, Dr.
my,
Dimry. Hey, my
Hey,
my
good
Dr.
pants
brother.
get a little
Demery.
tight.
Hey, Doc.
Hi, sir.
Hey,
Oh,
Hello,
Reverend
hello,
Demery.
hello, hello.
okay, yep, you there. So anyway, I'm glad you joined us. Hope Dr. Sims will also. And Mike and I
Mhm.
had one of the best shows that we've done on Mike. See, what are you nervous about, Mike?
I'm not
One of the best
nervous.
shows we've
I'm
done
good.
since we started Mad Mike Wild Will Coast to Coast. And I've gotten so many compliments on that. As a matter of fact, I talked to one of our avid listeners. Hey, Kim, if you're listening now, yep.
Kim
Uh,
Rogers.
yeah, Kim Rogers. She said, "Oh, that show was so good. It was
Nice.
great. It was really great. Talked to some others. They really loved it." So what we did, and Dr. Demery, we played the soundtracks from some of your favorite movies and some of the top 75 movies or whatever it was.
Uh,
It was better than I thought it would be. I mean, it was just it was great. Mike telling his corny jokes, and, and it was so funny. And the music was popping, the theme. And Mike, thanks a lot, buddy. That was an excellent, excellent show. So
Yeah, we're doing part 2 next week
we're doing part 2 Thursday. So
or this coming week.
guys,
Yeah.
if you can tune in now on the West Coast, Dr. Demery. Okay, I know it's past your bedtime. It's 5:15 p.m. Okay.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm teasing. You know I could do with Dr. Dimmer and I can joke. We always have. He's one of the few preachers that you can joke with. I mean, some of them, so stiff collar, but and I think there will be 7:15 your time. Yeah, I think you're about an hour behind me.
Right.
5:15 on the West Coast, 7:15 Central, and 8:15 on the East. And oh man, what a great show! I'm looking forward to it. I had so much fun. It's just one of those, and it's fun of great music and laughter. And the audience, they were making recommendations. Bruce J did, my sister Emma did, and some other people made recommendations on some movies that they liked. And we played
Mhm.
the soundtrack behind it. So it was great. It was
It was a
absolutely
kick.
great.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, you can find it on the website. Just go to studio w dot buzz, studio w dot buzz, and check it out. Go under featured shows, and it's the first one to pop up. Punch in Mad Mike and Wild Will Coast to Coast, and I think it's the first one that will pop up. So I invite you. I mean, just great fun. And Mike and I, we do this show for it's a purpose. It's to be silly, to have fun, and get away from the humdrum or anything that's bothering you. And you're like, we tell our audience, hey, look, throw all that stuff in a baggie. Some you might need a trash bag, but put them all your troubles in
Dumpster.
that. Yeah.
Somebody to dumpster.
And about 2.5, 3 hours. It is just fun. So, anyway, the topic today, I wanted to get into that. And we were talking about AI, folks. Okay. Ma- Believe it or not, many people don't realize that AI is here and it's not going anywhere. There are so many great things that artificial intelligence is used for. And I'm telling you right now, there are so many nefarious things. We'll get into that. And so that's why, each and every year we do a show called Refuse to Be a Victim. And Mike did a wonderful job when he was with the sheriff's department in San Bernardino. I think he headed up that uh, class course or whatever. And Mike can explain it better than I can. But it was uh, telling people, be vigilant. Okay. Check out have fun, but check out your surroundings. And there's so many things that we can do to avoid being a victim. So I thought we talk about and kind of blend in AI crimes or crimes that people use using artificial intelligence, and also the physical crimes. This time of year, a lot of people are being scammed out of a lot of money because they develop these programs and so forth and so on. So Mike, you said that you were going to do some research with AI and the crimes that's being committed right now using it. So I don't know how you want to start this, whether you want to brief the audience on what you did when you were with the sheriff's department on up to now. So however you want to handle it, I'm going to toss this over to you.
Okay, well, I'll try to be brief here. Decades ago, I was asked to create a program for seniors for their own safety, and they said, "Can you come up with a program and submit it to us, and we'll approve it?" And we want to go to senior centers because they're one of the most vulnerable sections of our society. There's two ends of the spectrum: the very young and the very old, and they're the ones that are most likely to be taken advantage of. Well, the very young are usually supervised, or at least they should be. And as we become seniors, not old, as we become seniors, maybe we lose a spouse, maybe we're divorced, our kids move to another state. So we end up being empty nesters, I guess is the term they use these days. So, and because our mental acuities and our physical abilities are diminished as we get older, as we become seniors, it's a prime area for the bad people, the evil people in this world to take advantage. So they asked me to create this program. And so I went around, I talked to a bunch of my friends and colleagues, and I talked to anybody that would talk to me and said, where do you see the issues are? What's the problems? Where are people being taken advantage of? So I did a lot of research on it. I came up with a program that ended up being called Refuse to Be a Victim. And initially, again, it was made for seniors, but it became so popular, the seniors would talk about it to their kids, and their kids would talk about it to their young ones. So I ended up doing the program for grade school kids. Of course, I adapted it based on the audience and the age, but I ended up doing it for the entire spectrum of age. And again, I adjusted it to my audience. And it was extremely popular. And they said, we don't know what you're doing, Mike, but just keep doing it. So I taught the Refuse to Be a Victim class actually, I still do teach it here and there as a private citizen, but I taught it for a good 20 out of my 30 years.
Wow.
And was very pleased with the outcome of that. And because of what I taught people, we got information back to the department about, hey, I listened to this crazy guy that did this class, Refuse to Be a Victim. And because I listened to him, I wasn't victimized, or I at least diminished my exposure to the bad people. So I was very, very pleased with the program. And William tweaked it for me this week. I always did some cyber crime because your telephone and your computer and such are primaries for, again, the evil people to take advantage. So I always did a little bit of the cyber crime, but now it has escalated to a point where I've got some numbers here for you, but cybercrime on computers has escalated over the last few years 900. That's 900%. Cybercrime has increased. And here's another figure for you. In the last month, because cybercrime has become such an easy crime to, you don't have to be next to the person to commit the crime. All you have to do is contact them over the computer. So over the last month alone, I told you it went up 900%. Now it's up 5,000%.
No way. Oh, yes,
5,000% the cybercrime.
Wow.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So, yeah, it's just too easy. It's easy pickings for the bad guys.
Okay, Mike, I want you to stay right there for a second.
Sure.
Because everyone I know uses a computer, whether it's their a laptop or their phone. These phones are computers, folks. Of course. All right. And it can be hacked. And with the advent or with AI, people can tap if they hack you, they can tap into all of your personal information. And also, Mike, I don't want to get ahead of it because this is so important. I don't want to get ahead of you. They
fine.
can also pretend to be you.
Yes.
Using your emails, using your like list. And this is the scariest part about it all, and Dr. Demery, to our audience. They can use your voice. This is so crazy. Mike, continue, please.
No, you're right on target. Because of AI and what's called deep fakes, they can replicate not only your voice, but your appearance. So one of the things that they're doing online these days is they are replicating celebrities. Like they might take, George Clooney, or they might take who's the big singer right now? The gal.
Male or female?
Female.
Are you?
Huge thing. Anyway, they'll take celebrities and be
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Thank you.
Thank you
We were supposed to know this. Okay, but anyway,
that's okay. But they take celebrities, and because they can pull their likeness off of the internet and pull their voice off the internet, they will make commercials. Let's say Taylor Swift, a replica, what's called a deep fake, will be selling cosmetics, or George Clooney might be selling ED medicine or something like that. And because people look at these celebrities and go, oh, I like that celebrity. Oh, he does my favorite movies. So they trust in the celebrity, but the sales pitch is all fake. It's all a deep fake. It's just a likeness and the voice of the celebrity they like. And because they trust that celebrity, they love Taylor Swift, so they're going to buy her cosmetics. Well, the whole thing is just a shill game. There's nothing there. There's no cosmetics. So people will send in money to buy these cosmetics, and what do they get in return?
Scam.
A smaller bank account is what they get. So that's one of the big ones that's up there right now is all the deep fake stuff.
Right. Hey, Mike, I got to ask you. Oh, Dr. Sims, hey, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Because what we're talking about right now, I know is important to you. We were off last week by the assistance of Ann, by the way.
It was holiday weekend. Stop.
I told Mike said, no, Mike said, no boomerang this week. I said, no. Ann pulled the plug on that one. Yeah. Okay.
You could have done it without me.
Man, no, Ann. You know that you're extremely important to this program.
Oh, that makes me feel special. Thank you.
Good.
You are special.
Then it might guilt you into making it the next time. But no, you are. You know, and I hate when you guys are missing, because a couple of times, Mike and I, we carried it on. I said, well, it's just Mike and I. And I don't know why I was so stupid in believing that it was only going to last an hour.
The two of you are very opinionated. I don't understand.
Matter of fact, I looked at the clock. We had over about 3 or 4 minutes. I said, Mike, I'll talk to you later. Oh, but it was so great. Thank you so much. we're talking about AI and the crimes that is committed. And Mike, we're talking about this. We're breaking it down on how AI can take Dr. Sims' image, take Dr. Sims' voice, and put out something, and it will sound like Dr. Sims. Now, there are a few glitches in it sometimes now, but see, they've gotten to the point now that they perfecting it.
Yep.
I saw an ad, it was on Facebook or something like that, where Oprah Winfrey was selling ED meds. Or now come on,
weight loss stuff. It's like, stop.
okay, and they do this. But my question to you, Mike, with technology where it is, I would think that the defense to this technology should be equally as, up on it as far as blocking it. Why do they allow those types of ads on any platform? They can strike it down. Law enforcement can strike it down, can't they?
You have to, of course they can, but you have to look at the totality, the number of people that get on the internet every day and research a given product or a given topic. You're talking about not millions of people getting on the internet every day. You're actually talking about billions of people getting, and there's only 8 billion people on this earth, as far as I know, but almost everybody in the civilized world has access to this internet. And when you're talking about, well, I'm on the internet all the time because I'm downloading music or I'm researching stuff, like William put me to task here to do my homework.
Yep.
So I'll spend a couple hours a day just answering emails or listening to my friends that send me funny stuff that sometimes I forward to all of you. So if it's just me and I'm on there for 2 hours, multiply that by, let's take half the world. Let's take 4 billion instead of 8 billion. And all the, I'm going to call them transactions, but look at all the transactions where people access information, buy things over the internet. How many of us are buying things over the internet these days? Out of convenience. I can order groceries from the local supermarket out here is called Stater Brothers, and I can order groceries from Stater Brothers and they'll deliver them right to my door.
Right.
So the amount of transactions that are going on, how does a given company, let's everyone knows who X is, right? The former Twitter, right? With Elon Musk. Let's just take that one company and ask them to monitor. I won't even go to billion. Let's break it down to hundreds of millions of accesses per day, per hour. How does one company accurately and correctly, not silencing free speech, but how do they find out if you are evil or good? And yes, sir.
It's amazing. No, continue. I know where you're going with
because it's got to be overwhelming for a single company to be dealing with worldwide information coming and going both directions, and to try to keep up with it, to tell if it's terrorist activities or if it's deep fakes or if it's a scam. That's got to be monumental. And maybe I'm naive about all this because I know they have programs that can ferret out these bad people doing these things, but I mean, it's only as good as the people that wrote the ferreting programs. So it's got to be just horrendous to try to keep up with all of this.
Well, check this out, Mike. It is faster than you think because of AI. Let me turn this on for a second. There are certain buzzwords. In other words, these programs have certain buzzwords.
Yes.
That will address exactly what we're talking about now. They can figure this out. So what I'm saying is, if I can go on Facebook and I see this ad with whoever doing something that I'm saying, wait a minute, hold it. This is out of character for this individual. Now, and the reason why people would buy that, because they love that celebrity. If that celebrity loves it, then I'm buying it. If that celebrity endorses it, I'm buying it, right? And as a society, we've been allowed ourselves to be programmed that way. You know, if you see it enough times on the internet, if you see it enough times on TV, people tend to believe it. That's why they advertise. So what happens is they have these computer programs that will pick up on certain words. Why do you think they know what song we're playing when we do our music shows? Immediately, they know what's happening. These programs pick up on there. There's some type of coding that goes on. This thing is far beyond our thinking, right? Guys, jump right on in. I found it fascinating because we have to refuse to be a victim.
I think what you want to know is why aren't they fighting fire with fire? Is what it sounds like you're asking. And there's actually in Britain they are doing that. There's an AI grandma that they have created that fights back against scammers, according to CBS. It says, Meet Daisy, an AI generated grandma created by British phone company Virgin Media O2 as the ultimate scam buster. Daisy's sole purpose is to talk to scammers all day so real people don't have to. Daisy made her debut on November 14th and has already had more than 1,000 conversations with scammers so far, the longest lasting around 40 minutes, frustrating them with her tech illiteracy and wasting their time by telling irrelevant stories about her grandchildren. So, in my opinion, I like that kind of thing because you
Right.
have a lot of people who are like me. For instance, one of the reasons why I don't really answer my phone and I keep it on not vibrate but silent is because so many calls are robocalls. So many calls are just junk, and I just don't have time to answer all that or to try to figure it all out. So I'm like, okay, if it's somebody that I know, excuse me, I'll see that they call and I'll just call them back. But being buzzed all day long by somebody who is only trying to take your money or trying to scam you is a colossal waste of time. And I appreciate the fact that they did this for older adults because they are targeted as Mike pointed out so much so that the National Council on Aging has on their website a blog designed to help them. Basically, it defines the different scams and it's got a whole guide for older adults, but it explains you know what AI scams are. For instance, it says AI scams are artificial intelligence tools to target consumers in very sophisticated and personalized ways. Unlike traditional scams, which tend to rely on generic or poorly executed tactics, AI allows criminals to create websites, emails, and impersonations that are startlingly authentic and believable. With AI, scammers can quickly launch fraud campaigns on a massive scale or zero in on specific individuals using data gathered from social media and other platforms. So everything that you put out there in the world, if they want to use it against you, they can, in order to make it more believable, so that when they do contact you, you will think that it's basically that it's true.
Legit.
Yeah, you'll think it's legit. The FBI, as a matter of fact, earlier this year, the Federal Bureau of Investigation San Francisco Division issued a warning that AI scams are on the rise. As technology continues to evolve, so do cyber criminals attacks, said FBI agent in charge Robert Tripp in a press release. Attackers are leveraging AI to craft highly convincing voice or video messages and emails to enable fraud schemes against individuals and businesses alike, FBI's Tripp said. So for older adults who are a common target for scammers, it's important to stay vigilant and well informed about AI scams. So what kind of scams do they run, especially on older people? They use number one, voice cloning. AI can now clone a person's voice using just a short audio sample, making it possible for scammers to impersonate authority figures and even your loved ones. In one real life case of an AI voice cloning scam, a Brooklyn woman received a call from what sounded like her in laws, followed by a stranger claiming the couple was being held for ransom. The voices the woman heard sounded just like her relatives, but in reality, they've been cloned by AI. Voice cloning is often used in scams where the criminal pretends to be a family member who's in trouble or trusted figure asking for urgent help. Mike mentioned this next one, which is a deep fake scam. Deep fake technology uses AI to generate convincing videos, photos, and audio clips that make it seem like someone said or did something they didn't. Scammers use deep fakes to impersonate public figures, celebrities, and even ordinary people in order to promote fraudulent products or persuade consumers to take certain actions. The third kind is phishing email attacks. Now, we're all kind of used to being scammed, or people trying to scam us via emails, but phishing is an older online scam in which scammers use email and other methods to steal personal information. And AI has taken it to a whole new level of deception. An article from Harvard Business Review projects that AI technologies will drive a dramatic increase in the quality and quantity of phishing scams in the years to come. With AI, scammers can generate very authentic phishing emails that bypass spam filters, said Lynette Owens, VP of Global Consumer Education and Marketing at Trend Micro. These emails often look like real account notifications or urgent requests from reputable companies. What's more, their content is often very personalized. It uses information collected from online sources to make the message seem like it's written specifically for the recipient. Now, I will tell you personally, we have to, as I told you guys before, have a lot of training on cybersecurity where I work. And one of the things that we were just trained on recently is how they can send you an email that looks legitimate, and it's taking advantage of the more secure ways that you access things. Like, for instance, you may have to use what's called two-factor identification, meaning you log in with your login and password, and then you get a code sent to, say, your phone or a separate email address that you have to put in later. Well, they are sending emails to you telling you, that you need to change your login and password because there has been, of all things, there has been a breach of some kind.
Or it's expired.
Exactly. And so because they're using AI, the stuff that would let you know that it was fake isn't as easily determined, because now their spelling has improved. It used to be you could
Right.
tell a fake email because the spelling would be completely, the sentence
Punctuation,
structure,
spelling.
right? All of that would be off. But now they look a lot better. As a matter of fact, they tend to kind of copy a legitimate looking email, and they're much better at making it look real. So then people are comfortable with it. They click on the link, and the little link embedded in there takes you to, which is the number 4 thing we'll talk about, a fake website which the AI has generated. And when you get to that website and you put in your login and password, it looks exactly like the legitimate site you're used to going to. And then they ask you for the two-factor identification. You put that in. So guess what the scammer's done? The scammer's gone, use your credentials, logged in, and use the two-factor identification code that you were just sent. And they've gotten access to, whether it's your personal stuff or if it's where you work, they've now got access to a lot of your job's internal information so that they can put it on the well, I won't say put it on the black web, but they can do a lot of stuff. Denial of service. They can now add malicious software to your company's network. It gives them access to a lot of things. So if you're gonna do something that because you think this email is legit, the best thing to do is to close the email completely and then go to the site the normal way you do and log into it that way. Or call the company to see if this is even a legitimate email, and don't use the number that's in the email account. Back to the article for the fourth way, and that's the fake website. In cryptocurrency scams and other AI scams, criminals send phishing emails or set up online ads promoting high return investment opportunities or prize giveaways. These ads lead to fake AI generated websites that look nearly identical to legitimate ones. When visitors arrive, they're persuaded to enter their personal information, leading to identity theft or financial fraud. Often the sites are so realistic, many victims don't realize they've been scammed until it's too late. So, given all of that, it's that the fact that it's harder to recognize when you're being scammed.
Mhm.
What do you do? Well, there's still some red flags associated with artificial intelligence. Very often, there's still going to be unusual requests for your personal information. So you need to be cautious if someone contacts you out of the blue and asks for sensitive details like your social security number or your bank account number. Another thing is that they will often have outdated content. Many AI tools and bots are trained on limited data sets, which causes them to generate text that contains stale information. So basically, if this is already something that's, been highlighted and had its little 15 minutes of fame, and that's a clue that you probably should ignore that particular email or report it. Sometimes they use overly formal information. Technology that uses generative AI often produces unnatural sounding language. You might notice words that sound too formal or academic, or phrases that don't seem quite right. Again, though, the punctuation, the sentence structure has improved overall. You'll also get high pressure pitches. Fraudulent ads and scam emails are designed to create a sense of urgency, pressuring you to make quick decisions without thinking it through. Then they've got requests for payment in unconventional forms. This one would end the little scam they were trying to deal with me really quickly. Be suspicious if someone asks for payment in gift cards, cryptocurrency, or wire transfers.
Yes.
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 These payment methods
Yep.
are usually untraceable, which is why they're often used by scammers. First of all, I don't use cryptocurrency. Like William says, it seems a bit like a scam in and of itself. Wire transfers, that is not a normal method of payment when you're doing something online. Now, gift cards, that's different. For safety reasons, when we're doing charges online, especially for sites that we don't normally do business with, like for instance, we'll get video games for the kids where you download it from a certain site or whatnot, or we have our favorite online games we play, so we don't like to use our regular bank account check cards or things like that because we don't want to give them access to it. So we will get a gift card with, like, say $25 on it, and we'll use that so that if for whatever reason somebody is running a scam or whatnot, then all you've got is this little $25 gift card.
Mhm.
That is
So
excellent. Yes.
so for me, that one isn't as much of a big deal. But if they're telling you to get a reloadable gift card and pay them like hundreds or thousands of dollars using that, one of those kind of gift cards where you can get a lot of money, that's a problem. But if it's a small amount of money and you want to use that instead to protect yourself, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a smarter thing to do than giving your check card number to some website or social media site and then getting scammed, and now you got to worry about, okay, are they keeping my information and using it to wipe out my whole bank account. The other thing to do is, well, another red flag is their visual or audio inconsistencies, but these can be subtle. So look for subtle oddities in language, tone, or visual quality that may point to the use of deepfake technology, especially in videos, phone calls, and recorded messages. I was watching something when they were talking about this, and they were showing how they created a deep fake video, but if you looked closely, it was of the ocean. the waves were moving in the wrong direction. So instead of the waves coming towards the beach, it was all, it's like, hold on, but you have to pay attention, so, but on its face, it looks like a really nice, serene video
Oh my
of
God.
a beach. So, but that's the type of thing that you have to, pay attention to. And another thing, about protecting yourself from AI, you're gonna, at this point, you can't really ignore technology anymore. You're gonna have to stay up to date. Knowledge is your best defense against AI trickery. The Bible says my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So we don't have a choice. We're gonna have to pay attention to what's going on, and stay up to date, on the latest technology. Now, me personally, I don't believe in using all of it, but knowing what it is and being familiar with it, to a certain degree, I think it's just wisdom. Like, for instance, I don't talk to Alexa, I don't talk to Siri, I don't do none of them, because that's training the AI to recognize my voice. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm like, no, I'll do it myself. But and my voice is out on the internet enough for AI to figure out how to use it anyway, because I'm on the radio a lot. So,
Hey.
if you got a lot of stuff out there, there's already enough information for AI to use. But I mean, think about it. Some people use not just facial recognition, but voice recognition.
That's right.
And all this other stuff. So if it's got your voice enough times, it can mimic your voice enough. And if it figures out your password, guess what? That's it. If that's the only thing you're using is the voice recognition to get into your system. So you need to stay up to date, and you need to realize how this stuff works. For me personally, I don't like training Alexa or Siri to recognize my voice. I don't like training social media to recognize my face. Like, for instance, people don't recognize Facebook uses facial recognition because people are posting pictures all the time. Well, I don't post pictures very often. As a matter of fact, you can tell I've used like the same photo for the last 10 years.
I know. I've been looking for an update, but
and I'm not doing it. So when you run a Facebook search, of me,
right.
it will sometimes, it will very often get my sister's photos too, because people say we look alike, but it can't tell me from her because it doesn't have enough data sets to accurately say this is a different person, because we do look a lot alike. And I prefer it that way. Because there's still enough information out there. If they want to go back and look these videos on StreamYard, and before we had StreamYard, when I was Facebook living, there's enough information out there, but it's going to be harder work than just putting a bunch of photos together and coming up with what I would look like. You know what I'm saying? To generate some fake information. Another thing you need to do is to protect yourself is to verify the source. This can be hard and time consuming. And when I say that, it's because if you don't know how to do it, you won't be able to do it right. For instance, if you get an email from somebody and it looks on its face like it's a legitimate email, but you have to literally, the way that we've been taught, scroll over the doggone email and look at the whole thing. And then you will see, oh, wow, this is not a legitimate email. It starts out, say, for instance, Studio W Buzz, but if you go and look at the rest of it, it's like EAT phone home, .com, something like that. So ET is phone and home from Studio W Buzz. That doesn't even make sense, but it's that kind of stuff. So because they can't use the legitimate source code, because it's already being, not source code. They can't use the legitimate address because it's already in use. So the other thing that they do is make up one that looks kind of similar, or, they will do it in such a way that you'll have to stare at it a long time before you realize it's the wrong thing. For instance, like scammers.net. Well, instead of spelling scammers with two M's, they'll do NN because if you put two N's next together, it looks like an M. And then they'll do another N and N. And so it looks like you're at scammers.net or whatnot, but really you just went to scanninginthenerves.net.
Right.
And you don't realize it. So verifying the source really does take some practice and
Mhm.
getting used to it, and you have to do that with websites too, not just with emails, because they do that same thing with email accounts that they
Wow.
do with with web accounts that they do with email. So you need to look behind the forward slash to see
Mhm.
all the nonsense that goes with it,
Mhm.
to let
And
you
you
know
just
that it's
pointed.
wrong.
I want everybody to continue because, folks, whether you like it or not, AI is here, and it's
Yeah.
going and it affects everybody's life on this planet. Believe me, believe me, in one shape or form or another. And some people say, AI, what is that? I don't care. I don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, you
Mm-hmm.
do. Yes, you
It
do.
uses you.
Medicare.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because your information. Emma just pointed out something, folks,
Yep.
that many
Yes,
people
those emails
do
like
not.
well,
And Dr. Sims, you can comment on this, right?
yes.
Because you'll get these phone calls,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and they might say, "Is this Dr. Cecilia Sims?"
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
say yes.
Mm-hmm.
You may
Mm-hmm.
just have approved a
A
scam. That's
loan for somebody else.
think about that.
Right,
And,
right.
and folks, how simple is that for a scammer to
Mm-hmm.
get over? All they need for you to do is say yes. Well, are you Mike Ward? Are you? People
Sometimes.
call me.
Yeah,
I like to speak to is William A. Brown. Is this William A. Brown? I said, who's asking?
I do
Mm-hmm.
too. Yes. Yes.
Folks,
Yes.
something as simple as saying yes
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
can get you in a lot of trouble that you
Yep.
have. Dr. Sims, what do you have to say?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hey, lady.
Hi, hi, hi. I saw what we are talking about today, William. You know, I'm a researcher, so I did some research, and Anne gave us a lot of plethora of information, which is great. And
Mm,
when you said, and I was reading Emma's, and I get a lot of texts. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's something how when you look for something that you want to purchase, all of a sudden you get an influx of
mm.
emails
Get flooded.
from AI
You mean from,
and
oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, a
no, from
flood of
AI,
information.
no, from AI on your
Okay.
cell phone, on your messaging. And I'm like,
Mm,
I was just looking for another insurance carrier, and I found one that's comparable to me for medical. And all of a sudden, everybody and their mama was reaching out.
mm.
And then I had one come knocking at my door, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
And I said, who are
You get
you?
shot. They don't.
You know, I said, "Who are you?" And this individual, yeah, nice young lady,
Right.
I had forgotten that I had sent a card. I didn't realize when I send these cards, they put them in a database, okay,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and they send them out to everybody. But I had her come in. I was kind enough, and I sat with her, and she was trying to make me change from my choice to her choice. I'm like,
Mm.
wait now, wait, wait, wait. I said, no, I said, I'm satisfied with what I have. Anyway, I said, I'd like to see the card that you received from me through the mail because I
Mm.
was challenging her. Well, she'd made a copy of it. Well, you can send a copy to anybody. And so I let her do a little spiel, but she was still denied and she's very persistent. And that's why you got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful because they will come knocking at your door as well. I,
Mm.
I did something else, William, in this uh, AI situation. I looked up the pros and the cons of AI, and they were quite interesting. But one of the things that I looked at, if because I asked the question, good old Google AI runs that too. Anyway, good old Google. I asked Google. I says, now, um, can they perfect my voice? And I think you addressed that. And then it
Yes.
sent me this article. It says artificial intelligence provide numerous of benefits such as reducing human errors, time saving capabilities,
Mm,
digital assistance, and unbiased decisions. However, the disadvantage includes emotional intelligence, encouraging human laziness
mhm.
and
Mm.
displacement. An AI program is capable of learning and thinking. That has
Mm.
been my issue because a lot of times we say that, and I maybe I look at
Wow.
too many stories, but I looked at this movie, and I think I mentioned it before about ABOT, and all of these ABOTs are supposed to be programmed by human, you know, programmers. But there
Mhm.
was this
Mm.
two of them actually was intelligent. One was real evil, who was reprogramming the others to be evil, and the one who had compassion was reprogramming itself to feel like a human. And
Mm.
that's been a thing in my mind. I said, we have all these mechanisms and things like that. And like you said, Ann, about Siri and Alexa, Alexa's talking to me throughout the day. And I'm sitting on
Mhm.
my couch. I'm like, I didn't ask you nothing. And
Mind your business.
Right, right, right.
we ain't talking. I'm not dialoguing with you, and things
Right.
like that. And when I told you once before, when I asked Alexa, because I have my gospel music stuff like that programmed, and also Studio
Mm.
W Plus, all of these shows
Wow.
programmed. I said, Alexa, turn on. She called me by Dr. Cecilia Sims. How
Oh
are you?
Lord.
I'm like, wait a minute, and
Um,
Mm.
it stunned me for a minute. I had
because
to
you
turn it
told
off.
her. Did you
And
say? Did you at one point tell her this is Dr. Cecilia Sims? Alexa, I want you to turn on so and so and so.
no, I
Mm.
did
Well, how
not.
in the world does she know that you're Dr.
I did
Sims?
not. All I said was
Oh,
because when you address Alexa, all you said, like I'll say, resume playing music. I don't even call I say Alexa, resume playing music.
Mm.
And so even when I have a Fire Stick on my television, and there's Alexa on that, and when I address my television, sometimes she joins in too, and I'm like, wait now, too
oh
many of
my
you
God.
are talking. And
Right.
so my thing is when I looked up at the pros and cons, I know there's good and evil of it to me.
It
Mm.
I
is.
saw a commercial. I don't know if you all saw this commercial with Elba Aegis, and so they had a stack of papers that just, they do things that to prove their point, and they
Mm.
had a stack of papers and files and things that fell on the staff's desk. But they
Mm.
implemented AI during the course of that commercial, and AI wiped out everything on their desk.
Mm.
And Albert Aegis, he was promoting artificial intelligence to the point
Mm.
where after that was done, because they had little snippets, and
Mm.
he says, "Now I'll leave you all alone and go to work." Well, when it reflected back on the staff, there was nothing, absolutely nothing for them to do, and they had their iPhones looking at their iPhones because AI had taken, I'm sorry, the stressors of their jobs away from them.
Mhm.
So it promotes laziness where you don't have to think,
It
and then
does.
it
Mm.
denses creativity in one's mind
Mm.
because it's taking it away from you. And so I'm really concerned about that. And we talked about William last time about AI in the church. Now they're going another further. They're going.
Another father.
They,
Yeah.
they stop laughing, man.
And I
They
want to
have.
know, hey, Dr. Sims, I want to know from you also, Dr. Dimmer, I need you to jump in too because
Mhm.
I think he missed that show. I think
Yes.
it was you and Mike.
Yeah, it was Ann. Mike was there, I think. And you
I don't
were
know. I
there.
don't think
Yeah.
Ann was there. Ann she was out on assignment. Let's put it that way.
No, Ann was not. Ann
I
was
don't
there.
think so. I think it was just
You,
you, me, and Mike, right? The last one we were
or
talking about.
maybe I don't know.
No,
And,
William. We you said we were gonna do a part two of it,
okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
and
she was
you wanted to
there. I
do it
was the one
on.
you couldn't see my face because I had
Oh,
it on another
I stand
PC.
corrected. I stand
Yes,
corrected.
yes,
But we want to
yes,
talk about that because
yes.
uh look, there's so much to cover here, folks. We're gonna do a part three. There's so much to cover here because look how many ways that this is affecting our lives.
Yeah.
I'm serious about this
Well,
because
can I
we were
bring
talking
in this?
about you, Dr.
I'm
Sims. You
sorry.
mentioned something about Elbert Ebus.
Yeah, the actor.
Okay, I know. And remember, folks, I think it was less than a year ago
Mm.
when the film makers and they went on strike.
Mhm.
The actors went on strike because they wanted to implement AI into that industry.
Into
No,
the
they didn't want
filmmaking.
AI
Yes.
because they knew AI would take their jobs, I thought.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly
Mhm.
right, Dr. Sim. But what I'm saying, Mike, you mentioned something last week. You said, well, man has always adjusted because there's so many things that have replaced or me. But see, do you want to replace an actor with AI? Don't you want?
But
I would love
They
to
did it
to
to William. They did it to Keanu Reeves, and he pitched a fit. And this is where it
yeah.
all started years ago. So during the filming of the movie, he did his facial shot, and that was
right.
it. After the fact, they edited in a teardrop coming out of his eye. And he rightfully blew a gasket. He goes, "That's not what I performed. That's not me. That was added after the fact." And that's what really brought it to the forefront, is like they can take and manipulate people, actors. Well, we're talking about manipulation here for the whole hour we've been at this, and they were manipulating the actors, and that's a big thing to them. I mean, that's their art. What if I took like a Rembrandt and go, you know what, I'm just going to put a little yellow over here.
Right.
You know, that is not cool. So I mean, that's their art. You don't mess with people's art, or you don't mess with their soul and their heart and what they do in life.
Right. And think about, I think everybody on, and Dr. Dim, we're going to get to you because we really need your comment on this when we're talking about AI and religion. But think about this. Think about some of our greatest music artists. Think about any of you, and all of you love music, right? Wouldn't you want, do you want that a person, whether it is Michael Jackson or whether it is Whitney Houston or whoever your favorite is, you know, Alicia Keys, whoever, would you rather have her, him, or would you prefer AI, some machine generated music?
Well, can I bring out one more thing?
You can bring out anything you want, but please, I want your input on this, especially Dr. Sims. I know you're a music lover.
Yeah, I do. I love music, but
but I think the intriguing part is that another human being can do this.
Yeah.
Which inspires other human beings to say, hey, I can do certain things too. That's why one day we're going to have, Mike will be singing and dancing.
Don't hold your breath.
Dr. Sim,
it ain't going to happen.
I wanted to talk about this too.
Okay, Dr. Sim, I want you to say whatever you want.
Okay.
What I want you to do right after that, let's transition to Dr. Demery and talk about AI. We've now created AI pastors, AI confession booths, AI Jesuses and stuff. I mean, Jesus and stuff.
AI
like
preaching your sermons.
And everybody who's supposed to be a believer should be extremely offended by that. So, Dr. Sims, say what you
I
want
wanted
to do.
to bring out something,
and then transition over to Dr.
Right.
Demery, please.
I wanted to bring out something because I look at National Geographics and all of that. They are getting ready to bring out cyborg roaches.
What?
Hear me well.
For what?
AI generated roaches. And it has a system on its back. It's between live and a cyborg. They call it a big bot. And it literally shows this roach.
Is there a cyborg raid we can get to?
You know,
AI raid?
I'm trying to tell you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They're using these to come into homes, okay, and to spy, okay. And we think that they are not doing some really rank stuff. It is. When I ran across this, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I can't stand roaches as it is. Okay.
Right.
Some of them will fly. You have some birds that they are actually AI generated cyborg pigeons. We have birds. You think all these birds are around you.
Are you serious right now?
They look for real, but they're spies. They're spying on the humanistic side, and they're reporting data. This is AI generated, and so where you think you're safe, you're not safe. Okay, they listen and they report. Okay, and so when they brought out about the roaches, I said, "Wait a minute." I said, a roach? And I was just literally floored. And it actually shows a picture, and Wilma, I'll send that to you. Please. It literally sends a picture of this cyborg roach with the AI generated, computerized, just a little tiny thing, a generated computer on its backside. Okay. It's able to crawl through the cracks of your house. It's able to crawl in. It's able to hide in inconspicuous areas. To send back, I know you laughing, William, but it is the truth. Now they are working on. They said that they're working on what is it?
Oh my God!
Butterflies, They're
you
doing
just heard,
anything that they can listen to, and you said something about your voice, because
Mhm.
AI is constantly listening to your voice, whether you have, and I have to say this, whether you have Siri or any of those other things, because you have, and I told people a long time ago, Big Brother's been watching us for a long time, and didn't know just how. That's why I have to cover my camera on my PC, because sometimes, because I don't want them looking at me all the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a
'Cause
lot
my
of people
job,
cover that up. Yeah.
yeah, my job even brought that up. My
Mhm.
job, and I
wow.
work for a mental institution, and I also work for drug and
Mm,
substance
mm,
abusers,
mm.
Mhm.
counseling them, and they were saying that there's certain things that if you type in, if you say something,
Yes, sir.
if it's
Yep.
a discrepanatory
Yep.
towards what they want you to do, you will be corrected or fired if it's continued. And you're trying to figure out, how would they know this? They are watching everything that you do. And there is another spot, William, that I might look
Mhm.
into, because if you write out a note, or if you write out a synopsis of something, and what happens is they have it so defined, these telephones could look at your paper, and it's in your handwritten writing, and
Right?
they would type it for you.
Edit
Okay.
it too.
And they exactly, and they would edit it, and it wouldn't be in handwritten. It would be like you typed it on the
Yep.
type keyboard, and it would be so professionalized through AI that it almost looks foreign to you if you're not up to the savvy as far as the education level. Does that make sense?
It
And so
does.
it'll make you look so proficient that all you have to do, you were talking about these preachers and stuff like that, preaching these sermons online. I know you want to get to it, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. Did you want me to say something about that? Because I think you want Dr.
I
Jones.
want you to say what you want to say, and I want to hear what Dr. Demery has to say too,
Okay.
because Dr. Sims,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Demery, okay, I'm not as Bible read, as if I'm saying this properly, as you and Dr. Sims and Mike and I. We're the only heathens here.
Oh no.
Stop. Stop.
No, 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 it's
Uh,
not okay. I'm just joking.
By the way, I'm a proud
Mike and
heathen.
I,
By the way,
Mike, look, folks, Mike and I are. You already know we're good friends, and
yes.
we'll tease one another. It doesn't matter what show it is. We will tease one another and just have fun and laugh at one another. And then
Right.
I'll call him up after the show. He'll call me up after the show. Man, that was fun, wasn't it? You know.
Mhm.
So, but no. Actually, you guys have read the Bible more extensively than I have. You know more about it. Uh, and but what I'm saying is, even with these two heathens, Mike and Will here over here,
Wow.
we are offended.
Not
I
him.
don't know Mike is offended by you want an AI
what are we
Jesus,
talking about? I'm offended.
AI Jesus.
Whatever it
Mike
is,
said,
I'm
"What we talking
offended.
about?" He didn't know he was offended.
Well, yeah, well, I'm telling what he's offended about. I'm already telling
Oh my
that he's
goodness.
offended. Okay, this
Wow.
time I'm putting words in his mouth. Uh, no, seriously though, I'm offended by this, and especially and it first started over there, but I also found out it's somewhere. It's in the U.S. Dr. Sims, did you bring it up last week
What's
about
that?
over in the United States here that there's some churches there
Oh yeah,
practice.
they sit and they listen. They listen, and it's not just in California and not in just America, but they have it started in some of the
Germany.
across the continents, that they can go in and sit and not have a pastor or a priest stand before them,
Wow.
and they will be able to listen to a
Wow.
AI generated sermon. Okay. And so,
Mhm.
but if they don't study the word of God, you wouldn't know if they're telling you the truth or a lie,
Mm.
because I believe that, and anybody can dispute me, but this is my belief, that they now are just really taking away the full essence, to me, as far as
Mhm.
I'm concerned, of the power and the magnificence of God's word, by using this kind of thing with an emotional list. Say, like you have a PC sitting there,
Mm.
and you have this data that's preached at you. You don't know if the data is true or not, because, as I forestated, the disadvantage of AI, it makes a lazy people. The
Mhm.
Bible says, study to show yourself approved. so that you can rightly divide the word of truth, and you'll not be able to explain, and I'm paraphrasing, explain the word of God as God gives it to you, because God gives you richness in God's word when you study it, and when you get in God's face and you ask him questions. You may not see it written, you'll see the words flashing at you, but God has deep hidden treasures in the word of God that he wants you to ask us. Sometimes the Lord gives you the same passages of scripture, but he uses it to me, and it happened to me in different arenas,
Of course.
depending who shows up and the need. Okay.
Amen.
And he's so wise that he does that. Whereas it may not suit you, William, for that time. But for me, I'm looking for something. Okay. And that's what he says. He said, don't take full consciousness of what you're going to say. Yes, study, but don't take full consciousness of what you're going to say. He said, I'm going to teach you what to say in that same hour, because see, God knows who needs what and who's going to show up. We can't read minds. We can't read men's hearts. All we do is give them the actual word of God. And when you have the cyborgs, and when you have AI that are constantly perfecting themselves, okay? And so I think I said this last time, William. I think it's a deception method, I believe, deterring people away from actually praying. You have these AIs that are comprising prayers for people to repeat.
See,
And not feel what you're repeating. Okay.
see
So
that takes everything away, Dr. Sims. This is exactly what I'm saying.
it's taking the excellence of God away from people feeling the actual experience. Like I said, people can dispute with me, but
I,
my
I don't
relationship
know why
may
they
be
would.
different than yours. But no, I'm just saying my relationship, I'm bent on getting on my knees and hearing from God. I am.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm bent on
Not from
studying.
a
I need the
robot.
touch from God. I need the touch from God, not my PC and my computer.
That's
Okay.
exactly
I
right.
need God to touch my heart, because a computer can't get there. I'm just saying.
Amen.
No, we're gonna come back because see, that's why now, and we've only touched on. I'm gonna just Dr. Demery. We haven't heard from you all night. I don't. Okay, you're not getting away. Okay, so anyway, I want you to touch on that very subject there, Dr. Demery. But for the audience, I want you guys to know that there are so many crimes that's connected with artificial intelligence. And we need to be fully aware of these things. We really do. Okay. Audio and video impersonation. Didn't we talk about that? Audio and video impersonation. They could take Ann or any of us and just get a little bit of information. Like this. You know, when we're on air talking, okay, they can supplement what we're saying with something entirely different, because they have perfected this technology so much, is that they can take our voice, likeness of our voice, and add even more than we even said to it, and it would still sound like us. Yeah, you know, and it's even getting better.
It's worse. It's getting
And better, and guess what? We're always 2 years behind. A friend of mine decades ago told me, she said, and she was a computer analyst. She said, you don't know, there's stuff out there right now that you're using right now that just came out. She said, that's 2-year-old technology. They already have something in the works right now that's more advanced than that. And we're going back 30 years, folks, when she told me that. Remember the book I told you guys about? It was called Glass House Tapes by Louis Tackwood, and it's out of print right now. And they want to charge ridiculous prices to get it. And it said back in the 70s that while TV is going to, and they're working on technology that while you're watching your TV, it's watching you.
Well,
and your refrigerator too.
No, you laughing, Dr. Sam.
I'm serious.
A refrigerator watching you?
Your toaster.
well, all the smart
Toaster
devices.
that you
well,
bought.
If they got a chip in them, they're monitoring you. They're listening to everything that you say.
That's
Basically,
exactly right.
Yeah.
Basically,
He
if
said,
it
that's
if
right.
it can
It sounds,
if it can
it sounds funny. It sounds like something. Well, you remember, guys, you remember that cartoon called The Jetsons?
yes.
Thank
Remember that?
you.
And
Oh,
they
Yes.
had,
there it is.
and they had telephones, and they would look at each other.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, oh boy, this is no. Back then, I swear, I said, oh boy, these guys are so funny. That will never happen.
I said
No.
it would. Remember, I told you guys we're gonna
You
be
did
like
well.
that.
You did.
But let
I
me tell
doubted.
you, China was always ahead of us.
I
China
doubted that it would
already
have
has
happened.
shoots that they send their children up getting out of school. I had to watch it twice. I said, this is not real. They have their children, you know how they usually wait on their children on the curb and stuff like that. No,
Uh-huh.
she sits there on the floor. There is a thing that looks like a cub manhole, but it's actually a part of the floor. And what happens is when the son or daughter gets out of school, they go into that chute, it opens the door for them, and it shoots the child up to their residency. It comes up out of the floor, it opens the door, and the mom greets their child.
This is going on right now.
That's happening right now. Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up.
Audio and video impersonation. I swear, we're gonna come back to you, Dr. Sims, because right after Dr. Demery, I want to hear. I want Mike to get back on because we have to talk about ways of some preventative measures.
Yeah.
We need to really get into that.
And
The types of
covered a
things-
bunch of it.
well, there's more. Thank you,
Yes, yes.
and did.
Anne's all over it, I'm
Uh,
telling you.
Well, she covered audio and video impersonation.
Mm.
How about driverless
Oh,
vehicles and weapons?
We have to let Reverend Demery go first
yeah.
before we
Hold
get into
on,
that.
hold on. I understand, man. I understand. I said before, what I want to do, I want to come back to Mike on those things, but I'm going to Dr. Demery first.
Mhm.
I did do that,
Mhm.
but I just wanted to point out to our audience, our audience out there is where we're going. So,
Mhm.
can I handle that, sis?
Go right ahead.
Calm down, William. Calm
Thank you,
down.
dear.
Go right
Okay.
ahead.
Driverless
Take
vehicles and
your
weapons.
pills, William. Take your pills. Calm down.
Mike, you shut up about those pills. I'm not taking no pills. Okay.
Okay.
Is
Everything
this
was
family feud?
everything was going great.
Hey, 60-day supply, 1995. I'm telling you right here, 60-day supply.
Look, I'm not gonna buy in on you and Dr. Sims hustle.
See, leave me out of it. I didn't start this time.
You
See?
started the Act Right
Thank you,
Pill.
Mike.
No, okay. You
All right,
started the
well.
Act Right Pill Corporation.
I
Right.
did. Yes, I did.
Tailored phishing, disrupting AI control systems, large scale blackmail, and AI authored fake news. Dr. Demery, those are things that's going to come up after you speak, but I want your opinion about this AI generated preaching, AI generated sermons, AI generation confession booths in the Catholic Church. Preachers just, I mean, they have their entire Sunday sermon laid out, and they didn't write any of it. Dr. Demery, please say what you have to say about that and break this down for us. And has man gone too far?
Well, I think that pretty much everything has already been said. I think Ann touched on it, and Mike, opened it up, a springboard into the discussion. But I think at the outset, I look at AI and cybersecurity and all that pretty much the same way as I look at my physical security. I mean, I'm the only one on the panel here that's restricted to a wheelchair. So I have to be very cautious and careful about where I go, how I go, because, people will think that they can take advantage of you being in a wheelchair. Well, I had these two crazy women that thought they were going to take advantage of me once.
Just two.
And I told the one she was built like a linebacker.
Oh no!
She probably could have, started first Rams, as a linebacker. And so she thought she was going to take my little bag from me that I carry around my neck. And all I said was to her, and attitude and how you approach things has a lot to do with it. And I said, don't let this wheelchair fool you.
Right.
You know,
Right.
exactly what I told her. And I had that day I happened to have my cane with me. I
Mm.
said, do you know Jesus?
Mm.
And she said, who? I
You
said,
going
do
to
you
meet him?
know Jesus? I said, because I'm
Mm.
going to take you to meet him in just a minute. If you get too close, you're going to go meet him.
I'm
She
gonna
said, I said, I
introduce
will
you
crack
to
He's
the
going
you.
to show
master.
I
you.
said, I will crack you in the middle of your head and split you wide open. And so, attitude has a lot to do with how you deal with it. We were in Las Vegas a while back, and my wife was with me, and this guy was messing with me. And my wife was saying, Lord have mercy, don't let my husband go off on this guy, because he thought he was going to take advantage of me being in a wheelchair. And I was
Wow.
already thinking the things that I was going to do to him before he even
Wow.
got close to me, you know.
Wow.
And so the point being is that I think that, I mean, I am very fortunate that I have a wife who I let screen all the stuff that I do. I mean, my
Mm.
wife is an
Good.
LCSW. She's one of the few black LCSWs in the country, and I'm very proud of her. But yet, she's very savvy when it comes to cyber stuff. So
Mm.
I let her screen a lot of my stuff before I buy anything on the internet. I've
Mhm.
slipped up a couple of times, but 99.9% of the time, before I buy anything, I say, honey, look at this and see what you think about this. Scam?
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
scam.
There you
Mm.
go. That's good.
So I let
Wow.
her
That's
screen a
good.
lot of the stuff that I do,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's always been a big help. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that the churches, and they have a right to do this. Now, this is a statistic. Statistic. Go look this up. Don't take my word for it. Just like I tell people at church, don't listen to me. Go do your research. Reading the Bible is like playing golf. What do you
Mm.
mean by that, Reverend? Reading the Bible is like playing golf. The majority of golfers, upwards of 90%, when I used to play, I was in this group,
Mm.
cannot play under 200 in their game.
Mm.
And most golfers are scratch golfers or either par golfers. Same thing with people that read the Bible. 95% of the people that call themselves faith based people have not read from Genesis to Revelations.
Very
There's
true.
people that don't even know certain books in the Bible. Go
That's
to
real.
church every Sunday, sing in the choir. I was telling this one person just the other day about the book of Habakkuk. They said, is
They didn't even
Habakkuk
know.
a book in the Bible? I said, yes.
Wow.
I almost slipped and said something I shouldn't have said. But I said,
Wow.
if you read your Bible, you will know these things.
Mm.
95% of the people that go to church call themselves faith-based people do not read the Bible.
I
They
believe it.
sit there and they listen to people preach. That's why, like Dr. Sims was saying a minute ago, it's so easy to scam people with
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
AI preachers, AI priests, AI whatever,
Mm.
because people don't even know whether the person, what they're talking about, is true or not.
Right.
And
Mm.
so it's so easy. That's why you have all
Mm.
of these big mega churches, because the people are being bamboozled.
Yep.
They're being scammed. And you
Mm.
want to put it in a more practical term, they're being hoodwinked
Yeah.
because
Mm.
they don't know any better. And unfortunately, the same thing happens as a
Mm.
spinoff of what Mike was saying, about being a victim. If I'm a victim and you hear that Reverend Jimmy got beat up or someone took advantage of him, it's because they drugged me, put something in my food, or
They double
that
triple teamed you.
You stay on,
I was
girl.
I was sedated or some kind of way,
Right.
that I could not defend myself.
Right,
So
sir.
the point being is, and the
Right.
same thing, if you come into my house, you better know the Lord,
You sure better.
because if you
I'm with
come
you on
breaking in
that one.
here,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna
I
usher
don't
you into
have,
his
I mean,
presence.
I don't have a 38. I don't have. The first thing I'm gonna grab is my double barrel shotgun,
Show you right.
and it shoots a swath about 12 to 13 inches wide, open choke.
Yes,
Mike knows what open
sir.
choke is. He can tell you
Yes,
about that.
sir.
That means
Say
a
the
wide
church
spread.
amen.
I don't have to
Very
ask.
well, not
All I have
focused.
to
It's
do
like,
is point it in their direction, and it'll take a big chunk out of them.
Right.
So
Hey guys,
the point
I gotta
being
get
is
one
hey
of
this.
guys,
those,
I got
Dr.
something to say.
Dimry.
I
I
got,
gotta
take
get
out
one of
part of the
those.
tree next to him also.
I got something to tell you.
I gotta
point
get one
being
of
is
those.
this.
Wait,
I
hold
think
on one
if
second. Dr. Sims, you can jump right in. But I got something to tell you. That's why I used to hanging out with Mike. I used to like hanging out with Dr. Dimmery. Dr. Dimmery was 300 plus, 6 feet, whatever it is. And I knew Mike had a gun. So,
Wow. Appreciate
hey,
said
that
he
Dr.
gonna usher you
Dr.
into the
Dimry
house of
said
the
some of the
Lord.
same.
I felt good hanging around with either one of those cats, right?
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Dimry said some of the same things, Dr. Dimry, I related to my children. In fact, my son just got through cleaning my piece. I called
Mm,
it my piece, my gat,
mm,
whatever you want to call it.
mm,
But he said, Mom, make
Peace of
sure you put
mind.
one in the that
mm.
put one in the
It gives
chamber.
you
But
peace
I'm
of
thinking of
mind.
another. I saw Dr. Dimry, I saw a gun, and I was getting excited about it because this world's getting wicked. And my son was with me, the one that's retired now from the police, chief captain, and he took me there, and I saw one that shot. I wanted when I walked in, I wanted one that shot 15 to 20 rounds,
Good
and the
Lord.
man looked
See,
at me and said,
I
"Well, wait."
told you she was dangerous. I
Okay.
told y'all
Anyway,
she is
Take out a
dangerous.
whole
anyway,
neighborhood.
I
Don't
told him
mess with
what it
Dr.
was,
Sims.
and I wanted a short. I
AI,
wanted a short piece. I wanted the short piece, that I can hold. It'll get a kick, but I wanted just the short, not one of those big long ones. Okay. And so I went over there. I was over there with them. My son had to bring me back. He said, "Mom, come on." He said, "I don't want you to have this. You'll be a danger to the whole neighborhood." Okay.
Right,
But
right.
my
Gonna
thing is,
light it
I'm with
all
Dr.
up.
Dimry because people take advantage of you, especially if you're handicapped. And I think I shared this with Mike. I'm suffering with a handicap right now. They think because you're walking with a
and check
cane
on your
and
sister.
even in a chair. Yes, will you? Anyway, and if you're in a chair, I told him I'll go Bruce Lee on you, okay, with that cane. Bruce Lee, you know what I just said
Wow.
Bruce Lee.
Right.
Because my dad taught me to combat and not to have anybody take advantage of me. I
Right,
have to laugh
right.
at myself because and I'm like Dr. Demry, you have to protect yourself from these heathens out there. And I'll call on the Lord while I'm doing it. I'm just saying, okay.
While I'm beating y'all, I call on
She's
Jesus.
got a direct line to the Lord.
Right. I will
But
usher you
it's
into his
it's the
presence.
truth.
Yes,
And
sir.
Dr. Demi, I'm so tired. I was preparing my breakfast this morning, and something like the Lord was sharing with me, and that's one of the beauties of reading the Word of God, because you can read something and at times, and this is how God does me. He gives me something what do you call a perfected word over that? Should I say an epiphany, not epiphany, but an enlightenment
Mm,
over that. And I was troubled by how they use in the Black Bible that was written by some of the slaves owners, and how they took the word that a slave is no higher than his master. And I was reflecting on that. And I was reflecting on the story of Jesus. And the Lord told me, he says, he was speaking of the servant, who Jesus was in the place of the servant of God's people, but yet the Messiah. And we being slave to sin, and so God was breaking that thing down to me. And I'm like,
mm,
whoa,
mm,
now I get it. Okay. They use that thinking that I'm no better than the white man, the Latino, whoever had slaves. No, we're all no better because we're being slave to sins, but we're no better than God, who is our master. And
mm,
so that's what the Lord had. And all these years, I took
mhm,
that as, oh my gosh. But I was trying to figure out who is worthy of being the master. Don't let me
mm,
start. Anyway, who's
mm,
worthy even to be in the master in some of our churches? Because we have some, like we said, AI generated folks
mm.
that are standing before God's people, and it's just not. To me, it's not profitable. It's profitable for them because they are keeping the people enslaved in mind. And I'm done.
I
Well,
mean, I wanna add this real quick, and then and I know you want to say something, and Mike, you probably have some things to say too. Let
No,
me
you guys
say
go.
that
You're doing great.
one of my favorite theologians is Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Many of you have
Mm,
heard of him, and you know who
mhm,
he's all about. One of his famous quotes was, he said that be at peace, but prepare for war. And what he meant was is that we I would never want to take anybody's life. I would never want
Right.
to harm anybody.
Mhm.
But if you come into my house
That part.
and you were attempting to harm me or my wife or
Mhm.
anything that I have, I mean, if you want something that I got, I'll give it to you. But if
Mhm.
you try to take it by force, I will
Right.
match your force with my force.
You know what
And
I'm
so
saying?
the point being is, I think if we have in our hearts a element of peace and to be at peace. I will give anybody anything. When I was on the bus the other day, there was a guy that was short of money trying to get on the bus. I gave him the money to get on the bus. He said, "Man, thank you
Yeah.
so much." He said, "I was short." I said, "That's all right, man. Don't worry about it. We all have, things that we're going through." I said, "Maybe one
Right.
day you'll be able to help me out if I'm short."
Pay
So
it
Right.
the
forward.
point being is that we have to be at peace with our neighbors, at peace with ourselves. What is the greatest gift that Christ tells us? To love your
Love.
neighbor as yourself.
Right.
And if we
Amen.
do that first, then we can live in this world in a little more harmony that we are right now. But
Mm.
yet, as Dietrich Bonhoeffer said, always be prepared for war because you
Yes.
never know when it can come. And I don't trust nobody. I'm just going to be honest.
Say
I
on
don't
Dr.
trust
Demery.
nobody.
Yes. Yes.
Especially when
Mhm.
I'm out on the street in my wheelchair, I don't trust nobody. If I see somebody coming up on me, I'm
Right.
turning my wheelchair around and facing them head on.
That part.
I said,
Right,
come on.
right.
I said, come on. If you want to come up on me like that or try to approach me like that, then I'm ready for you, brother. Come on. I'm going to wear
Mhm.
you out with this cane I got.
Come
You
Yeah.
on
know?
now.
Right,
So,
right.
so the point being is, I think,
Mm.
the AI preachers and the AI sermons that people do, they are effective because people do not study. I just told you the stats
Back to
are
being
out.
lazy.
It was in Christian Century magazine.
Mm.
And it talked about how 95%, that's
Mm.
shocking,
That's a
saints.
lot.
Mhm.
95% of people don't even read their Bible. They
Mhm.
just go to church, listen to brother or sister pastor,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
preach, and go by. I tell my folks
Come on.
when I was pastor, and I said, look, don't take my word for it.
Right,
Go read this text and see what you get out of it. And then we were
right.
discussing it Bible study. And there was a lot of people that disagreed with me. And I
Mhm.
think that's okay.
I
My
don't.
nephew and myself were talking the other day, and my nephew said, "Is it okay to disagree with some of the things you hear preachers say?" I
Yeah,
said, "Yes." I
Yes.
said,
Yes.
"The
supposed
preacher
to do.
that does not want you to disagree with them or question what they're saying, they're
Right.
crazy themselves."
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it got me kicked off the deacon board.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
What?
William. I'll never forget that story. Matter of fact, William, I've used that story in sermons.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Really?
I have
I
used
sure
that
did.
story in sermons, William,
Yeah.
and people fell out laughing.
Well, that's a true. It's a true story. You can't make it
I
up.
know it is. That's where the
I
power
didn't.
comes because it's true.
I
Yeah.
didn't agree with the preacher. I refuse to be one of his yes men, and I'm a candidate. I can't say kicked off the deacon board because I never was a deacon. I didn't make it that far, and because I told him that I didn't give a damn what he said. Oh, and
Mhm.
he was wrong, and they kind of
Mhm.
shunned me after that. Uh, I laugh. I say I ain't gonna be a deacon anyway. So, but anyway,
Oh,
getting back to the story, Doctor Demery, is that right? Why can't you question the preacher? He's a man or a woman, right? And if it's something that you don't understand or something doesn't sound right, that's why many people change churches. That's why many people stop going to church because they're not being fed, Dr. Sims.
Mhm.
but and you asked Dr. Demery something, and I think we forget. And I said this in Miss Cece's kitchen. I know I got a lot of flack for this. I said I don't know where we as pastors sometimes get off at, thinking that we've elevated ourselves so high that
Mm,
we cannot be approachable or corrected. I think that, in fact, when people say, my people, no, they were sent to you on loan for you to serve them. And my thing is, you're preparing them and giving them instructions for glory. And you yourself have to yield to the instructions that God has given us. I think that's where a lot of people have forgotten those that are in these positions. And Ezekiel says it best, they have set up idols in their own hearts. And so they've elevated themselves in a place that they should not be. And so to the point where you cannot have servitude of love, you do as I say do and don't question the validity of what I'm doing. And so that's not the case here. And a lot of preachers are going to get in trouble behind that. And a lot of bloodshed, should I say spiritual bloodshed, has happened among the believers in Christ. And Dr. Jimmy, you said it best, because, and that's a shame, 95% will not open the word. I remember, and I'll say this one last thing, make it real quick. I asked them when I was teaching one time, I know where the scriptures are because I have them written. I know where they are in memory. And so if I don't give them, somebody did question me, well, where is it found? I says, well, here's the test for you. Go and research it.
Mm-hmm.
Find out where it's found in the Word of God. You're gonna have to open the pages, okay? And I said a lot of times you can Google, you could say the scripture, and it'll give you where it is, okay? But you're too lazy. I said we have a lazy people, a people like little birds, and you expect for us to just feed you. You don't know if I'm feeding you truth. I said I was in the choir one time, didn't know the songs, and I was singing eggs and bacon and eggs. You didn't know I didn't know the song. But
Wow.
my mouth was
That's
moving.
amazing.
Okay. I'm just saying that was an analogy, but my mouth was moving. I was in sync with it. I was marching, clapping, but I didn't know the song. So I was singing eggs and bacon and eggs. You didn't know I'm
Wow.
saying that. But
Wow.
because I look like them. Okay. So you better go and search those scriptures for yourself and find out what God is talking to you about, what we need to do. But we need to, as pastors. And I just said he gave you the flock on loan for you to serve them, not for them to serve you. Even Jesus was serving, okay, him being Lord wrapped in the flesh. Come on here and dwelt among us. So how better than you are than Jesus? You can't
That's
be.
right.
There's no way you can be. So
That's right. And Dr. Sims, now I tell you how I think that AI would be acceptable when you start doing. If you say, "Well, where is Luke?" Whatever
I've done
chapter
that.
it
I've
is,
done that.
and
Yeah, I've
then
done that.
you do that, and then you go to it and you read it.
Exactly.
Okay,
I've done that.
but when you take and say, "Okay, I want to
Give
design
me a
my sermon
sermon from Luke.
around,"
Yeah, then you take
oh,
verbatim. No.
that's a whole different thing that you're doing with
No.
it. So AI is great in so many things. I love GPS. Okay, and it's funny because way before GPS, I could get anywhere I wanted to go anyway. But
Right.
what I think you said it, Dr. Sims, that AI make us lazy in so many
Very
ways.
lazy.
But
Yeah.
I do love GPS. Okay, or I could say AI, or I could say, oh my God, Siri, call Mad Mike. You know, and she'll call him up, or Dr. Demery, or Ann, or Dr. Sims. Okay, I think that's cool stuff.
I prefer talking to her over you anyway. So
Oh,
Well, yeah.
just saying,
Wow.
my goodness.
So Mike,
she's a
so Mike,
lot, she's a lot nicer.
Wow.
We gonna get personal now. Okay, is that what
We're not
is that what we're doing, Mike?
Hey, calm down.
Okay, well, no, I
Let's
got
just
a few
state the
things.
facts
I got
here.
a few things to tell you too.
Personal.
All right.
She's pleasant.
That was personal. Yeah.
So
I
if
felt
you prefer
that.
talking to something
That's like brotherly
He'll
love
get
on the
over it,
reverse
don't worry.
side. Oh, sorry.
if you rather talk to something artificial than your good buddy William, then I have some words for you. I'll call you after the show. Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. Jeez.
I know you can't, and you better pick
Oh,
up
my.
too.
Oh, my.
But
That's
anyway, but
funny.
think about this though. The dangers of AI. We covered that. And then many people say, "Oh, that doesn't affect me." Yes, it does, because if you use a bank card, do you withdraw money from an ATM? Okay, how does that machine will count out every dollar that you want accurately?
Well, not
I
just
haven't had one to
machines,
fail.
not just ATMs. I mean, some of the banks around here don't even have tellers anymore. You have to go up and deal with the entire electronic thing. I hate those things. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to that. Mm-mm.
I understand that. And see, Mike, that's why I'm gonna push back on people losing their jobs over AI. You go to the grocery store, and grocery stores generally, especially your high-end your main grocery stores, they pay really great wages to the workers there. Okay, Most grocery
Yeah.
stores people work with,
So.
it was above minimum wage. Okay.
But
So-
that's in California. Okay. Never
Oh,
mind. I forgot y'all's wages are so different from everybody
Man.
else.
see, that's something that
Cost of living
see,
is different too.
uh
Yeah.
well, yeah, it is. The wages are higher there.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a proportionment of
Right.
wages and things like that, in especially in certain states like Arkansas,
Mhm.
Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, some places in Georgia. You know, those places, red states. But anyway, what I'm getting at
William.
is that people need a living wage, but with AI coming in, replacing those grocery store workers. You go into a grocery store right now, and where you had maybe 5 or 6 checkout lines with tellers behind them, okay, or maybe even more. I mean, not tellers, but cashiers.
Mhm.
Now you have maybe 2, and the rest are self checkout.
Mhm.
What happened to those people who had those jobs?
Well, they lost them. They don't.
They
Well,
lost those
just like
jobs.
Walmart, a
So-
councilman here in Hemet went to Walmart. He went like about 5 something in the morning. All computers were stamping and loading. There were no. He said it was so quiet because they had these
Mm-hmm.
computerized systems, okay, in place.
Mm-hmm.
That remote, that ride around like a wheelchair, the mobile, and they were stacking up the groceries and putting the price tags on them. The people used to do that, right? And you have people who would unbox and put it up there. Not anymore. He said this was eerie. He said to come in and see these computers doing
Right.
the work that men and women used to do, as a income to survival. And in fact, they're right in LA. They have computers, uh, robots in serving people their food. When
Mhm.
they showed it on the news, it was so quiet. People do their interaction. To me, it's stopping the human interaction. To me,
Come on.
you know, where
Yes.
So
because we have
Yes.
to have just like
Yes.
a baby. If you withhold a baby from a parent, they won't know the love. But of one who's nourished and held, there's a total difference in their demeanor.
I couldn't
Mhm.
So
agree with you
they're
more.
stopping the human touch. Okay. And these computers are taking over.
Come
They
on.
can't ask you how your day. Well, they may be programmed to ask you that. They'll even sing happy birthday to you. Okay.
What does that mean,
But
though,
you have to
Dr.
load
Sam?
the
can
plate
I
on
take
them,
the other side for a
yeah.
second, William?
Yeah, you can in a minute,
Sorry.
Mike, but hold on.
Okay, just let me
Dr.
know.
Sims is definitely on to something because
Okay.
that human interaction in anything we do in our everyday lives, that keeps us human.
Sorry,
And
Mike.
what's happened is
There you're
with
good.
the advent of all of this AI and robots and things like that, the human touch has been taken away, which has a psychological effect on us. That's why people are desensitized right now to
Yes.
human tragedy
Yes.
because we're not related as people. There was
Yes.
a time, Mike and Dr. Demery and us, Dr. Sims, when we knew our neighbors. We conversed with our neighbors. Matter of fact, we knew neighborhoods over. And now machinery, technology is taking that over, Mike. We cannot take that away. I mean,
So
God,
can
I would
can I
rather
give
talk.
a counter?
I would rather, yeah, Mike, yeah. I understand, Mike. You ready to talk? And I understand that, brother. And I will give you a chance. But what I'm saying is, I would rather have you, Dr. Demery, Dr. Sims, and Ann on than me having 4 fake co-hosts. Come on, man.
That would be a
Oh,
fun.
yes, Mike. Continue, my brother.
Okay, so I thank you. I
Michael?
appreciate it. Because I like to annoy William, I'm going to take the other side here for a second.
Oh, I love it.
So
Bring it.
think. I want you to think about this a little bit outside the box here. So now you take 6 checkers that were in this grocery store,
Mhm.
and you eliminate them, and you put the self checkout in.
Uh-huh.
What's the ramifications of that? Because now you're paying less for your workers. So you're saving money. So now you can offer your groceries or whatever it is you're selling So now you can offer those groceries at a cheaper price. So the population, the citizen, gets their goods at a lower price. So that's one ramification of it. Now, the
Okay,
other
I'll stop
side
you right there.
What store are you going to, Mike?
Hold
You
on,
don't have
let
any
me
bad.
go.
Hold on,
William,
Mike, I'll let you
you've been
continue.
talking. You've been talking. Let me,
I promise you,
William, let me finish.
Mike. Okay.
So now let me talk about the other side that William's talking about, the humanitarian
They
side of
lost a
things.
job. They can't
So
afford
now
to sell
I'm
it.
on the topic. We're talking about AI as far as like eliminating jobs. So now once those jobs are eliminated, so those 6 checkers no longer are there, and it's replaced by automated stuff that reduces the cost of your goods, so that the public benefits from that. So now, what do those 6
You ain't got a
workers
job.
do?
You can't buy it.
Hell, hold on, I'm almost done, William. So now those 6 workers that were there as checkout people, now they have to go find another job. And this is something now. Hang on. Now, this is something I brought up the other day with you, I think last week, or maybe the week before, because I think we're off last week. Anyway, so as mankind has evolved, we used to have blacksmiths. Well, are there blacksmiths in your town anymore? No.
Does anybody have a horse but you?
What did those blacksmiths do? They went into another industry so they could make money to take care of their families.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to portray this as that AI, and I get both sides, by the way. I can argue both sides, but AI is a bad thing, and humanity suffers because of it. I'm saying AI in many ways can help out and reduce the cost of goods, and those people that normally did those servient jobs, now they are moving into something of a higher education. They're moving into something else that only human beings can do versus AI. So I think we need to, if you want to be balanced about this, we got to look at both sides. That's all. That's my point I'm trying to make with you, William.
Oh, I love it. And Mike, you know what? I think when you first came on the show, being controversial as you are, I told you I love your side because that gives me something to argue against. And folks, those 6 checkers that you talk about lost their job, now, yeah, you've reduced the prices, but the only thing they can afford right now with no job is bologna and crackers. So I don't want to hear this mess about, so how long is it going to take them to find, you said find another job. Okay, good. It's just like me telling me, you in a neighborhood.
Civilization evolves.
It might. It's going to take a while.
Civilization evolves.
No, hold on. It's like putting the cart before the horse, because you're saying these people, a man adapts. Now he needs to get the education to go and get the jobs out here. But how long is that going to take? And what about the farmers? I'm a farmer. Now you tell me I need to find another job right now. Okay. What if I am a manufacturer or a worker in a manufacturer, and AI has taken over my job? No longer do I need to, or can I stack the warehouse or whatever it is, because I have a machine doing that. So you saying, well, get another job. Get another job doing what?
William, you're qualified to be a proctologist. It's not a problem. Just move into another job.
Okay. First of all, the argument is moot because we've lived through this. We have lived through them removing the checkers from the checkout line and putting in the computerized checkout lines, and the prices didn't go down.
That's what I was saying. They did not go down.
So
they went up, actually.
Yes,
so
exactly.
They are right, Mike.
Yes.
They have.
I'm just trying to present the other side. I'm not saying right or wrong. Again, I could argue either side. I'm just trying to present there's another side to this.
Continue, Judge Ann.
I'm just saying the trickle down economics didn't work in the 80s. It still not working in the 2020s.
Thank you.
So that's not what they're going to do. And as a matter of fact, it's gotten to the point that it was so bad that they are now thinking about reversing that, because people are like, you know what? I'm not getting paid to check out my own groceries. The prices are too high. And a lot of people started stealing.
Exactly.
So now they are wanting to remove the automatic checkouts and put people back in place so that they can better monitor the customers and what they are doing when they are getting their groceries, because guess what? It's a whole lot harder to steal when you got a person touching everything that gets out of that grocery cart and goes across that scanner, versus having a person do it themselves, and then you got one little person at the top of the queue, or so to speak, looking at everybody as they scan, trying to figure out who's doing what.
Right.
So I think it's a failed experiment, because I don't even go in stores anymore, because I had that job as a teenager. If I had wanted to keep that job, I wouldn't have gone on to college and law school so I can get a better job. So yeah, I just order my groceries. So then I know you have to not only just scan them, you gotta go do the grocery shopping, you gotta pack them up, and then you got to bring them out to my car so I can be loaded up and I can bring them home. And other times I just have them delivered to the house if the grocery store is too far away to drive to. So I just don't think it's working out that way.
But you left that job and found a better one, didn't you?
Well, okay. Well, I was in high school when I had the job. It was back in the 90s. I never intended to stay there.
Like working at McDonald's, Mike.
Okay. Yeah,
it's all about profit. It's all about profit. And I hear you, Ann, loud and clear, because I was going to ask Mike, what store do you shop at? I want to come.
Yeah, I heard you.
My thing is because the greedy gets greedier regardless of what you have. And you have competitive strategies out there with with store owners. And it said it could be effective. It could be providing that the store owners would limit the cost of food, but that's not the case here. In fact, some of them are shysters. And this Black Friday, they were so uncovered where they were looking like they were marked down, right? And these are the people who are using computers and things like that to, they have the, I hate those self-checkouts. I hate them because I like talking to people. I hate it with a passion. And so my thing is that what they've done in the stores, and this came from management, where they had a sales sign say an item was $459. A lady took the original price from behind it. It was the same price. So and that was on several items talking about you're getting a good deal. It's a mind manipulation all the way across the board. And we have to realize that the greedy gets greedier. And whatever makes it pleasurable and easy for me, that's what they do. I've seen people in the self-checkout where somebody had something in their hand and ran it across somebody else's scan and ran out the door with the item, didn't pay for a thing. And so that cost was put on the person who was actually checking out theirs properly. And so you had, like Ann said, they did a lot of stealing. So I just pulled it up and it says implementation of cost, profit maximization, and cost factors. And some of the store owners don't want to take the effect of the cost of having these self-checkouts, because they're going to basically lose money by lowering prices. And so you may not have the people now. They're gonna gain in not having the person there. They don't have to pay insurance. They don't have to do all this other stuff. And so you don't have the human body there to do that. They did it in finance companies. I told you that before. My boss told me they sold us down the river and sold our collection department in India. You couldn't understand them, but they sold them down there, and they were telling us a person that makes what some of us made between 50 and 100 people, we can hire for that because they don't require much, so they say. But they are steadily taken away from us and any means necessary. So yeah, AI has its benefits in other areas, but in most cases, you get some shysters who are maximizing their agendas. They are stealing from the people. They are manipulating. They're using a lot of deception, and then they're making you think you're getting a good deal when you really don't.
Yeah, and let me tell you what I think that we may be missing a little bit. And Mike, why?
I actually agree with you guys. I'm just trying to present another side.
And I love it. We want to hear the other side because we want to hear what some people are thinking that aren't really doing their research. Because you think about what Ann and Dr. Sims was saying. If you have, and Dr. Demmer, if you have this owner and he's making X number of dollars per year with employees, okay, and he replaced, say, maybe 60% of those employees with robots, machinery, or whatever it is, or AI generated, what we talk about grocery stores, for instance. he keeps his prices at the same price.
Yeah. Once the
And
prices go
he
up, they
has
don't
more
come
profit.
down.
He has no profit because he doesn't have salaries to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't have health benefits to deal with. He doesn't have to worry about people taking time off to deal with, which are all costs that business people have to consider. When they talk about their business, they have to consider all of those things. And all of those things are important. So, Mike, I understand the other side of the argument, and many people are making that. But see, when you start replacing human beings with all of these people, where do these people go that have been replaced? Where do those 6 check cashiers or those checkers go? Where do they go? How about that guy that works in, or in woman that works in the automobile manufacturing, or factory rather? Where do they go? What jobs do they take? So yeah, Mike, like you were saying, after it was something that you came up with several months ago, that yes, there with AI coming in, you're gonna lose some jobs, but you got so many more jobs that will be available. What is it going to take?
Yeah, the problem with that is, and again, like going back to your guys' side here, is that there's other jobs that are available, but they're requiring a certain level of higher education. Well, Anne's a prime example of that. She got a higher education and moved on and has built her family. So if you eliminate these entry level jobs, you know, grocery, the bag boy or that clerk's helper, they call them now. But if you eliminate these menial jobs, where do these people with no education go? So I can argue this on either side. I just like to present the other side just to get William out of his chair.
No, and I appreciate it. I've said that to you well over a year, Mike. I love your other side because you have so many people, Dr. Sims, you're chuckling, but there's so many people.
No, he just likes to start trouble is what he's saying.
He's exactly right.
Dr. Sims, hush your mouth.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what happens there? You know, it is crazy, and you have people out here. Unethical AI examples. Okay, in the context that we have talked about, gender-based recruiting algorithm. Let me tell you what I mean by this, which was found to prefer male candidates over female ones.
Wow.
Of course it happens.
That's just
because guys don't get pregnant. They don't take maternity leave. They don't. That's a fact of life.
I know,
that's why they will hire males before they hire females, because then they don't have to deal with those issues.
Is that your point for or against, Mike?
For or against which? What's your question?
Now, what are you saying? You prefer this?
No, he's explaining why employers
don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying an employer will generally be biased and hire males over females because they don't have to deal with, once again, maternity leave and pregnancy and other female issues and stuff. Don't get me wrong here. These are the facts of life. These things happen, and employers are looking at productivity. And if they can get more productivity out of a guy that's not going to go on maternity leave, then those are the factors that drive their decisions.
You're right. Hey, guess what? You just made an argument for me, my friend. That's why you need DEI. Period. Okay. Oh my goodness. Virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa, recommendation systems used in e-commerce platforms, fraud detection in financial institutions. I want to go to something right there, because we talked about earlier about how people are being scammed. And if they have fraud detection, I want to find out, how come these people aren't being busted? If you're detecting this, are they using some type of systems where they can't be traced back? Mike,
it depends on the hacker. Some of them do, and then a lot of them are overseas. I mean, you got people like folks, say for instance, in Nigeria or Ukraine or China or somewhere like that. that are running the scam from where they are. And yeah, you can report it to the FBI. Yeah, the FBI can technically bring charges against them if they figure out who those people are, but the FBI doesn't have jurisdiction over those folks, unless they're able to get them extradited to be tried over here. So it's a whole lot that goes into whether or not you're going to actually be able to prosecute somebody. Now, if it's an in-state or rather in-country actor, that's different if they can find out where that person is. But a lot of the time, you're talking about a criminal who doesn't have a face, who doesn't have a name, who doesn't have a location that you can easily verify. And that's another one of the reasons why cybercrime is so popular, because it's not like going into a convenience store with a ski mask and a gun, you know what I'm saying, and trying to get away clean. Is you can bounce your signal over a lot of different servers, not just over one country, but over various countries. You can easily do a lot of things and get away with it seemingly on the internet that you couldn't necessarily do if you were a person committing a crime against another person one-on-one.
Yeah, it's more anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, but what I'm saying is just like, for instance, if we played something that is copyright restricted, they can shut us down just like that.
Just like
What I'm
that.
saying is it seems like they should have the technology to detect fraud and shut them down just like that.
I'm not saying that they don't, William, but okay, let's think about it from another way. How many email accounts do you have? Do you think scammers have just one fraudulent account? No, they don't. You shut down one, they may have 20 or 30 other ones, exactly, that they're working on. So you have to be able to catch all of them. And even though you've got a system in place to do that, it's kind of like when you have so many people jumping on the internet at one time and they crash a site. It's that type of thing. If you've got that much fraudulent material out there and you've got this one little software program trying to find it all, some things are gonna slip through the cracks.
It's like trying to play whack-a-mole on steroids.
Right.
Whatever whack-a-mole is, I don't know.
That
Look it
thing
up,
where
William.
you something pops up and you pop it before it can go back down the hole. I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
I still have
Whack-a-mole
no
on
idea
steroids.
what you guys are whack-a-mole. That sounds crazy.
Wow.
Now, what is this? Is this a digital board game or something?
No, it's physical.
Whack-a-mole? No.
I have no idea whack-a-mole.
Have you ever been?
Go ahead, Ann.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. It's
I was
a
just gonna
game
say-
that kids, well, adults play it too, but it's like think about bowling pins in front of you, and the bowling pins are down below surface level, and then the mole comes up through the hole, and you've got this this kind of a battering ram thing, and you're supposed to hit the mole back down the hole before the next one comes up, before the next one comes up, before the next one comes up, before the next one comes up. So you're chasing your tail, trying to whack the mole back down into the hole, and it's a never ending. It's So, but what Ann's trying to say is like trying to chase this stuff down is just almost an impossible task to keep up with because it's happening so fast.
And they're so.
I mean, we're talking milliseconds. They can send out emails to 100,000 people in less than a second. How do you track all of that? How do you whack the mole back down into the hole?
You're right. And so the only defense, what I'm hearing from you guys, the panel, is that we need to be more vigilant of the things that we do and things like that. And we haven't even talked about be careful shopping right now physically, going out to the malls and things like that.
Yeah.
And ladies going out at night by yourself to shop for Christmas. Going into these parking garages, opening and putting things in your trunk. We have to be, so there's so much that we need to talk about, and we only have 6 minutes. But let's go
Well, you
around.
know they have drones following you now, folks. I need to tell you this.
Okay, go on,
Drones
Dr.
are
Sims.
watching you while you go to the bank and take out your money.
Whoa.
This was a proven fact. It was on the news a couple times where
Wow.
they're upgrading their tactics, and they watch while people are doing their numbers. And it's a spy drone, and what it does, it follows people home, and it also takes their cars and the money that they took out of the bank. So
Mm.
yeah.
Wow.
There was some
Wow.
technology. There was technology that I heard about years ago, and that was where some people would have scanners, and say, for instance, you're at the ATM or you're walking down the street, they could scan what's in your pocket. Let's say
Oh
your
yeah.
wallet's
Yeah,
in your back
the
pocket.
chip on your cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have a special wallet for that. I think it's called is it
I have it.
RFD,
It's
something
like
like that.
RF,
sealed box
radio
that you carry your
frequency. It's an
stuff in.
RF wallet. Radio
Yeah.
frequency, RF.
And also, folks, they're putting cameras on bushes to survey your neighborhood and your houses in that wide, broad status. And what they're doing is they're casing the place to see
On
who
your what
leaves
now?
when and who comes home, so
On
that
your-
they'll know the time to hit
It's-
your home.
on
This
your
was
what
on the
now?
news
1984.
several times.
Dr.
You know
Sims,
the
what
movie
you,
1984? That's
they're
what's
putting that
happening.
on where? On what now?
They're putting them in bushes, and they're saying that people are flying over from other countries, and they perfected their craft, what they're doing as far as their thievery. But they're putting little cameras down in the bushes, and they're camouflaging it, and it has a broad radiance, and it looks through the neighborhood and they go to the affluent neighborhoods, okay, to see who comes home, who leaves. They got you clocked down to a science. So they hit your place and they're out because and many of these cameras have been found, okay, in people's bushes on their property. They select one property to put that camera on there so they can survey a broad radius, just like you can pull up a neighborhood in your system, right? You can see
Yep.
the house and all that, right?
Right.
But they've
Google.
actually gone to these neighborhoods and put them down in the bushes and camouflaged them. And so
That's incredible.
that's how they
So,
know that
hey-
you're gone and when to hit your house.
William, I know you're really short on time here. Two really quick things. I
Go
watched the movie last night because I was looking up AI, and there's a
What
movie
movie?
out that just came out with what's Megan Fox, and the movie's name is Subservience.
Oh, yeah.
Subservience.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of adult content in there, but it covers exactly what we're talking about, where AI comes in and at first it's something that's helping you out and serving you, but then it starts to take over and it gets really ugly. It's a really good movie. Again, there's a little bit of adult content in there, so I'm just warning you. But Subservience just came out this recently.
Yeah, I started watching it. I didn't
Is
finish
that on
Something else here?
Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
I'm not sure. You have to look it up.
What
But
you-
It's
I got
Netflix.
I got today. There's a service out there called Telegram, which is a way of communicating with large groups of people or small groups of people. So it's kind of it's part of social media. Anyway, I got an email today. Now I'm going California time here, so the times I'm going to quote are California. So at 1:21 p.m. today, I got a telegram that said, "Hi, may I know your name? I notice you are in my address book, but your name is not there." So I answered at 1:24 p.m. I said, "I don't recognize your name." They answered at 1:33. It says, "My name is Evelyn." I said, "I see your name, but I don't recognize it. Sorry." That was at 1:34. At 1:38, this person replied. He says, "I live in SF." I take that as San Francisco. It says, "I live in SF. If you tell me your name, maybe I'll remember who you are because you appear in my phone book address book." So and that was at 1:38. At 1:41. So this started at 1:21, and the last the last text message on this Telegram app, I answered. I said, "I work for the Sheriff's Department, San Diego County, California. Does that help?"
Wow.
Okay.
That was at 1:41. You know what happened after that?
It stopped.
Nothing.
Yes.
Absolutely nothing. So that just happened today. And they wanted my name for some reason, and I wasn't about to give it to them. But if
Mhm.
they, it's a slippery slope. They get your name, then they figure out where you live, then they figure out your birth date, then they figure out your social security number. So this just happened today, this afternoon.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. And Ann touched on this earlier today too. I received an email from one of my credit cards.
Mm.
The logo was perfect,
Wow.
and it said, "You are qualified
Yeah.
to get." Uh, it said, "There's $100 with your name on it."
Mm.
Okay. Now I didn't even answer that. I didn't call the credit card company or anything, but it reminded me of something that happened to me several months ago, where there was a even greater offer for one of my credit card companies or somebody to do business with. So I called the company. I said, I just received an email from you, and this is what it stated. They said it's a scam. Send it to us.
Wow.
Mm.
If it
Now,
sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
if you're getting something for nothing,
Like that. No.
you know what? We're gonna talk about this next week, folks,
Mm.
because there are so many people. You can win this. You can get this. Congratulations.
Mm.
You are a winner. Okay.
For a limited time only. You must act.
Yeah.
You must act quickly.
You must
There's only one
respond.
left. There's only 2 left.
That's right. You must respond in 24 hours. And people buying this, that's why they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Man, oh man, oh man. Any final thoughts? And Mike, Dr. Sims, Dr.
I'm done.
Demery, before we close it out. So am I. And
I would say this. One of the things that I try to do, I'm not perfect at it. I don't give nobody blank. They ain't getting nothing. They ain't getting my social security number. When
Right.
they call up and ask, well, what is your name? I say, Boo Boo the Fool.
Stop.
You know,
Stop.
I
Bobby
ain't
from
telling
Bobby's Boom Boom
nobody
Room.
nothing. They don't know nothing about me. They don't have my face. They don't have nothing. So I think one of the things, I know that probably is a little radical for
no,
a lot
that's
of
fine.
folks,
No.
but I can tell you this. They ain't got nothing on me because I ain't telling them nothing. They don't
Right.
know my number. They don't know my name. They
That's
don't even
right.
know my face. They don't know
I don't
nothing.
blame you.
And so I
Right.
think that's probably a little radical. And if you know, I use the old saying, and I leave you with this, similar to what Mike just said. The duck, if it's got webbed feet, if it's got a beak, and it starts quacking, and it looks like Aflac, it's probably a duck. So
Exactly.
you know, use your common sense.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's
Right.
good.
Right.
Dr. Sims. Oh,
I also wanted to say if they're
oh,
putting money in your Cash App and you don't know who they are and they want you to download
oh.
it into your account, because from time to time people bless me, right?
Mhm.
And this person put $3. I'm like, I'm just like, okay, wow. And
Okay.
I looked to see who it was. It was just, and if you can't show your face to me or give me a number, I just let it stay there. And how come the next day it was gone?
Oh,
Wow.
So be
well,
careful. They've got all kinds of devices and ways to get to your, because getting to my bank, that's my information in there, right?
Mhm.
And so they come through the back door, the side door, the front door. It doesn't matter. They just want to
Mm.
get there.
Wow.
And you've got the final word.
Well, Reverend Demery was talking a little bit about what was going on with AI in the church, and you mentioned that people should be angry, and I'm still upset about it. I
Yep.
think that it's just blatant idolatry, setting up something that's supposedly got the face of what they think Jesus looked like, and he
Right.
looked nothing
Mm.
like that. That's talking to people that is completely idolatry. Exactly what
Mm.
Exodus tells us not to do.
Right.
And
Man.
having somebody that doesn't rely on the Holy Spirit to provide revelation to the people, instead wanting a computer to do it. If it were
Right.
me, I would change churches right away. That's just my personal opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
Guys, I've thoroughly enjoyed this show. There's so much we do have to share because there's information out there about this. We know somebody, even in our families, that don't pay any attention to anything that we're talking about. Not that they are ignoring us, but they're just ignoring what's going on around them.
Mhm.
And folks, you got to be vigilant. You must know what's around you, your safety, and maybe your life depends on it. And what about your children? What about your grandchildren?
Uh,
Educate them not to go out there and giving their names and numbers and email and everything to everybody.
Mhm.
And your
You
babies,
know, how many-
you don't have to plaster your baby all over the
and,
Facebook.
and you know what, Dr. Sims?
Right.
I'm going a little bit over because this is important. Do you know that female abductions are up?
It is
Mhm.
high. It's
Mhm.
high. And they're putting their babies' pictures are cute.
Come
And
on.
I tell them anything you post on my, it gets deleted because
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm advocating and I'm pushing, aiding, and abetting to those sickos that are
Mhm.
researching and they can figure out where you live. They can monitor you. They're quite computer savvy. And
Mhm.
I am not going to promote your cute little baby to get abducted.
Most of those pictures have geotagging on it. I've talked about this before. So
You
when you take
did.
a picture, if you know how to click on that picture, it'll show you the exact location, longitude and latitude where that picture was taken. And it's called geotagging. So you think you're just putting cute little pictures out there? Well, you are putting cute pictures out there, but you're telling people exactly where that picture was taken.
Right.
You said this over a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you
Yep.
did.
Folks, pay attention. I got to say something. And Emma, thank you so much. My sister, Emma, she's funny. She missed her calling as a stand-up comedian. She said, I don't know anybody in Asia, Earth,
I know,
Northern
right?
Hemisphere.
or North Pole.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Emma.
Oh,
No need to call me.
That
don't,
part.
and recognize the numbers. I mean, the numbers is coming into your phone. If it's an area code that you don't recognize, let it go to voicemail. And you know what happens?
They don't say nothing.
Most times it does not go to voicemail.
Right.
They
I
don't
don't
want
even have a voicemail on purpose.
absolutely. Hey guys, thank you so much. We gotta go. Dr. Sills, Dr. Demery, and Wooty Till, my main man, Mad Mike. I enjoyed this, and we've got to do this again, folks, because I think we probably barely scratched the surface.
Yeah,
Okay.
of
So,
course.
well, we're doing it again. I talked to the CEO, and okay, that's what we're doing. Hey guys, thank you so much for your participation and everything you bring to this network each and every week. You guys are amazing. Thank you.